Good morning, Haiti Oropesa for Florida U Judge, and I'm here bright and early today because I have a guest with me who is a judicial candidate in the only race currently in this election cycle in Pasco. Jeremiah Hawks is with me. Good morning, Jeremiah.
Good morning, Heidi.
And he's running for county court position, and the other candidate was interviewed yesterday. So he's here this morning to address the voters and let us know a little bit about his candidacy, who he is. So, Jeremiah, thanks again for joining me, and I'd like you to just start off with letting the viewers, voters know why is it that you'd like to be a judge?
So I have been a practicing attorney since 2001, and in that time I've gotten to be a prosecutor. I've worked at the Florida House of Representatives, and I've worked for the Sheriff's Office. So I've gotten to be a public servant in a number of different roles, and so this seemed like an opportunity with the incumbent judge retiring to take on a new role and to work in the judicial branch. I've worked in the executive branch and the legislative branch, so this is kind of the way to complete the trifecta and work in all three branches.
Wow, that's interesting. I had no idea that you had been a legislator. So how long have you been with the Sheriff's Office?
And so I've been with the Sheriff's Office since 2009. I came down from Tallahassee with my wife Holly, and I've been there. So I started off as the general counsel, and then I got promoted to what's called a bureau chief of the Management Services Bureau. As the bureau chief of the Management Services Bureau, I oversee budget, legal, and finance. And so we have to negotiate with the county commission on the budget every year. I'm also the chief labor negotiator for the sheriff. I deal with the FOP and the PBA, on the union contracts and things like that. And I do legal matters for the sheriff, including cases in federal court and appeals.
1983 cases we were talking about a little earlier. You don't personally involve yourself.
We do get some 1983 cases. I don't personally handle those. Those are handled by outside counsel, but we oversee the outside counsel and work with them to make sure that we get to an appropriate resolution.
Got it. And so how long were you in the House?
So I should clarify, I was the general counsel for the Florida House of Representatives, so I worked for the House. I was not a member of the House.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that clarification. So how long did you do that?
I was there for 2.5 years.
Okay, got it. So you're pretty familiar with the whole legislative process from that experience?
I would say so, yeah. I got to help draft legislation. I got to argue before the Florida Supreme Court on a case involving separation of powers. And so you deal with the governor and the Senate, and you do ethics opinions for the members as the general counsel, and you also do lobbyist investigations when people file a complaint saying the lobbyist had violated one of the rules. Then you do those investigations as well. So I got to deal with a number of issues that way.
Well, based on all your experience, and like you said, you've come full circle. You've served in every branch, except the judicial one, which you're now seeking. What experience that you've gained from those other areas would make you a good fit for this role?
I think one of the things that having those different roles and opportunities has helped me to do is to understand the limitations of office. And so, one of the fundamental protections of our freedom in this country is the separation of powers. It doesn't matter that you have a Bill of Rights if government officials are not going to stay within the framework that they've been given. And so like I said, I argued a separation of powers case before the Florida Supreme Court. I was working for the sheriff. We've had some conflict, some issues with the county that we've had to work out, and with the governor and the Senate. And so I've gotten to see what the limitations are of these various areas and these various branches, and actually litigate those issues in court. And I think that's given me an important perspective on understanding that you stay in your lane. So as a judge, what you do is you interpret the law. You don't make the law. You're not a policymaker. If you want to do that, you run for the legislature. You're not an executive branch official. You don't decide who gets charged and who doesn't get charged. You're the judge. You apply the law to the situations that are brought before you.
And now that you speak of that, Jeremiah, I've asked all the candidates that I've interviewed thus far. I know I often hear, as a practicing lawyer, I know that, and I often hear from my colleagues as well, citizens, when they're either called as a defendant or they have a controversy because they're a plaintiff or a defendant in a civil case, oftentimes they come to us because they need guidance and they're lost. They seem lost in the system. A lot of times they seem very stressed out, intimidated. And I think most of us would agree that it's for those who would have a opportunity, not an opportunity, but that through no decision of theirs, they're brought before a case controversy or in a courtroom setting, they're intimidated. How do you and it's their most important day in court or of their life. How should that, ideally, the interaction between a judge and an individual who's stressed out and feels intimidated, lost in the system, what does that should look to you?
So I think that's a very important question. I mean, I think that when people come into court and they feel like the judge already has their mind made up and they haven't had an opportunity, they don't get an opportunity to state their case, that, you know, it doesn't matter what I say, the judge is going to do what he's going to do. That's when you talk to people about their experiences in court, when people are frustrated, that's oftentimes the most common frustration that they bring up. The judge didn't even want to listen to me. And so I think judges need to be patient. I think people need to have an opportunity to be heard. The judge can't be their attorney for them. But, you know, in county court, you have a lot of people who are coming without an attorney. You know, because you're dealing with small claims, you're dealing with landlord-tenant actions, you're dealing with misdemeanors. And so I think as a judge you need to have patience and you need to let people present their case. And while it is just another day at the office for you as the judge, you do need to remember for these people, this is a big day and it is a confusing and can be upsetting process. And so I think as a judge you need to give people time to state their case and to work through the process. Can't make everyone happy, but you can definitely let people feel like they at least had the opportunity to be heard.
Right, and as you said a little while ago, judges don't make the law, they apply the law.
Yes.
And in order to apply it, you need to hear all the facts.
Yes.
To make a fair determination.
Yes.
Right? So good on that, Jeremiah. Tell me a little bit about your personal history and your professional, or you've already gone over your professional or personal history.
So I went to Florida State University for both my undergrad and my law degree. And then I was practicing in Tallahassee. I worked at the state attorney's office in Leon County for the Second Judicial Circuit. I was a prosecutor there for 5.5 years. I worked in Wakulla, Jefferson, and Leon counties. While I was in Tallahassee, I met my wife, Holly. We currently live in Odessa. We got married in 2008, so we just celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary on the trail. We have 2 children, Zeke, who is 4, and Verity, who just turned 3 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
She's very excited. So we're having, so we're trying to make time for all that in the midst of the campaigning. So we live in Odessa, and, Holly worked previously for the clerk of the court, Paul O'Neill, who's also endorsed my campaign, I should say, while I'm going through this. And but she stays home with the kids now. And we enjoy living in Pasco County. Our almost decade there has been a very good experience for us. Both of our kids were born there, and so we really enjoy that. I should mention, I know you don't have a lot of time, so
no, go ahead, take your time.
I was endorsed by the FOP labor unit. I was endorsed by the Suncoast PBA. I've been endorsed by the sheriff, obviously. If he didn't think this would be a good idea, I wouldn't be doing it. The clerk of the court, our property appraiser, Gary Joyner, County Commissioner Catherine Starkey, and County Commissioner Ronnie Oakley have all endorsed my campaign, and I'm very proud that those community leaders, who have to interact with the court system quite a bit, have all chosen to endorse my campaign.
Jeremiah, thank you for coming on this morning. It's Saturday. We were here at 9. I'm still a little sleepy. It was... I had a massive day yesterday, but you said let's come on tomorrow, and I appreciate you doing so, because the voters, oftentimes in this type of race, they are clueless as to who to select as their next judge, either county or circuit. So I thank you very much for taking the time this morning to come on and let the viewers know about your candidacy. And so I'm going to leave you with a couple of minutes to just say whatever last words you'd like to address the voters with.
So I appreciate everyone's support and consideration. I should also mention that Holly and I attend worship at Tampa Bay Presbyterian Church. We try to get involved in the community as much as possible. I have previously been the president of the Florida Association of Police Attorneys. I'm a member of the West Pasco Bar and the East Pasco Bar Associations. And I am a member of I was a member of a couple Florida bar committees, and right now I'm on the Florida Bar Committee for the Constitutional Judiciary, which helps educate Floridians about what judges do and how they do it. And I'm pleased to be part of that role. If you need more information about me or my candidacy, please go to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/HawksForJudge. You don't need to be a Facebook user. You can just skip over the login information and go to the page if you like. If you do check out the page, please, if you click like or follow, you can get updates from the page as things come out, and let you know what's going on. August 28th is the election. Early voting starts August 18th, and if you want to vote by mail ballot, you can get that from the Supervisor of Elections right now.